Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Marc Rodger and myself, we're very pleased to provide some leadership remarks for this year's CanVECTOR annual conference. First of all, a sincere thank you to our conference co-chairs, Dr. Maha Othman, Dr. Cynthia Wu, as well as the Conference Planning Committee. You've really put together a very impressive program with an excellent choice of keynote speakers. We just heard from Andrea Skrineker, and later today we'll hear from Dr. Michelle Scholzberg, as well as many other types of sessions, really something for everyone. And I learned this morning that there were more than 130 registrants to our conference, which is really fantastic news. So thank you so much on behalf of Marc and myself. Just want to remind everyone, we have a number of really interesting conference sessions coming up. So after our remarks this morning, there'll be the Thrombosis Canada CanVECTOR Fellow presentation from 11:15 to 11:45. And then the scientific abstract competition, as well as other sessions that were already outlined by Cynthia Wu when she opened up the conference. So I really encourage you to attend, and particularly Dr. Michelle Scholzberg's session at the end of the day. I had the opportunity to attend her session directed towards the trainees yesterday, and her journey to get the RAPID trial completed is really a very remarkable one, and I think it will be a really interesting session. So please try to attend. So just a few words going back in time on how it started and how it's going. So CanVECTOR started in 2015, and we now refer to that phase as phase one. That was from 2015 to 2020. And essentially, we were successful in obtaining a CIHR grant from the Institute of Circulatory Respiratory Health for a VTE clinical trials network. CIHR provided $1.5 million over 5 years. And as part of the grant being funded, we were required to raise partner support as well. And we were successful in raising a total of more than $6 million for phase one. And this remaining funding from our partners was provided by academic partners, not-for-profit partners, and pharmaceutical and device companies. And I'll tell you a little bit more later on in terms of some examples of our successes in phase one. In terms of how it's going in phase two, it's actually going great. We've managed to raise funding of more than $2 million to date, and we're constantly securing new partners as we go along. We now have more than 220 investigators, trainees, and research personnel all across Canada, plus 10 patient partners, plus 35 funding partners. In terms of capacity enhancement in thrombosis research across the nation, we funded more than 70 trainees to date. We funded 9 pilot trials, and we're really well on our way to sustainability throughout phase two and beyond. So our network is very healthy, thriving, and growing, which is great news. I just want to point out our current CanVECTOR leadership, and we're very grateful to all of our leaders. So Marc and I are the co-directors. Deb Siegel and Gregoire Legal co-direct the Clinical Trials and Shared Platforms platform. Paul Kim and Ed Conway co-direct the Translational and Basic Science platform. Alejandro Lazo-Langner and Vicky Tagalakis are the co-leads for the Population and Health Services Research platform. And Lisa Duffett and Carol West co-lead the Patient Partners platform. And I'd like to point out that we're very proud that we have an actual patient partner, Carol West, in a leadership role within our network. It's really serves to enrich our network's leadership. The co-leads of the Knowledge Translation platform are Alfonso Iorio and Lorianne Linkins, and Sudeep Shivakumar and Zach Liederman are co-leading our Training, Mentoring, and Early Career Development platform. Leslie Skeeth is currently on maternity leave. We have 2 patient partners, Dennis Christopher and Suzanne Dubois, on our scientific steering committee. So again, they form part of our network's leadership. And we're very pleased that Tanya Panu served in the role of trainee council chair over the last year. And just a shout out that we will be recruiting for a new trainee council chair starting in January 2022. So if any of our trainees are interested in this interesting leadership role, please feel free to reach out to us. There will be a nomination or an elections process. And finally, Rick Ikesaka is the chair of our CIG, our Clinical Investigations Group. I would be remiss not to thank some of our previous leaders, the late Clive Kieran, who really helped to build our network and served in the role of co-lead of the clinical trials platform. Marc Rodger, who served as co-lead of the training and mentoring platform. Jim Duquetis was co-lead of the knowledge translation platform, and Jessica Emmett was a co-lead of the patient partners platform. So thank you to all of our leaders who serve our network, with such dedication, and really these are pretty much volunteer positions. So we're very, very grateful to our leadership. I just wanted to give a few examples of our research and impact since the network's inception. And again, we can't go through all of our successes, but these are some key examples. So as I mentioned, we funded more than 70 trainees to date. And this is in the form of research startup awards, fellowship salaries, studentship salaries, various travel awards at the time that we were able to travel to conferences in the past, and an emerging research leaderships initiative that was funded in partnership with the Heart and Stroke Foundation. We've also funded 9 pilot trials, and I'd like to emphasize that the pilot trial program has really been a very, very big success, because more often than not, granting agencies, before they will fund a large-scale trial, are requiring evidence that a study is feasible in the form of pilot data. So just a couple of very impressive examples. The COBRA trial with PI Dr. Lena Castellucci and Marc Rodger was the network's first funded pilot trial. It went on to receive a very large grant from CIHR and currently is ongoing and has recruited thousands of patients. And this will be an up to 3,000, close to 3,000 patient randomized clinical trial. And similarly, the Trimline trial, co-led by Rick Ikasaka and Marc Rodger, went on recently to receive a large-scale grant from CIHR to complete a full trial. So again, I think this is really a sort of key feature of our network, the fact that we've invested so much into pilot studies, and this has really led to a lot of research successes. We've also fostered a clinical investigation group that currently has 22 active studies ongoing, which themselves have been funded with nearly $11 million in additional funds. And we have some interesting activities planned, led by this group, including a protocol strengthening exercise program that will be rolling out early in 2022. And I hope that some of you will consider submitting your protocols to this protocol strengthening exercise. Some other examples of our research and impact: we launched Clot Plus, which is an online repository of pre-appraised evidence relating to high-profile studies in the area of VTE and anticoagulation. And of note, we've published 29 patient-directed evidence summaries relating to these key published studies, and very soon we'll be launching a specific CanVECTor members publication page where all of us will be able to log on and to view all of the publications from network members, and this we hope will lead to additional collaborations within our network. We've convened a patient partner council that helps to integrate patient partners at all levels of the research process. And we also founded early on in the life of our network the International Network of Venous Thromboembolism Clinical Research Networks, known as INVENT. And this is now a network of 10 national VT networks that has supported or endorsed 25 collaborative international studies. So we're very proud of INVENT. And this was something that originated directly as a result of CanVECTor and the funding of CanVECTor by the ICRH. Just wanted to give a shout out to all of us. We had a formal review in January 2020 by an international external advisory panel. And one of the quotes from their report is, "We are highly impressed with CanVECTor's accomplishment. We strongly commend CanVECTor's leadership for being inclusive and effective, and this has led to the crystallization and remarkable success of the network. The capacity development is the real legacy of CIHR's investment and will continue to pay dividends in the years to come." So congratulations to all of us for these successes. Just wanted to mention or sort of emphasize that the pandemic was very hard on all of us, including on all of our clinical studies, and forced us to shut down many studies, or at least not be able to recruit for them. CanVECTOR was able to pivot very quickly after the pandemic started to apply for various funding opportunities relating to COVID and thrombosis, because it became apparent really early on that thrombosis was a very important and serious issue in patients who acquired COVID-19. So this slide really just shows you all of the grants that were able to be funded by various CanVECTOR investigators to address the issue of COVID thrombosis. So you can see there are a number of CIHR funded grants, including the ATTACK studies, Virtuoso, COVID beacons. There are some additional studies that were funded internally by CanVECTOR as part of our special COVID rapid response competition. And some investigators received other sources of funding, such as Michelle Scholzberg and her rapid COVID coag trial, which you'll be hearing about during her plenary a bit later on. Plus, there are other examples which we didn't have room to put on this slide. But really, kudos to all the investigators who kind of rose to the unfortunate occasion of the pandemic to get these studies funded. And in some of the cases, the studies are already completed and published. We've also made a lot of progress on a real unique CanVECTOR product known as Verdict, which is our online adjudication platform. And on the left, there's just a screenshot from the website Verdict. But essentially, this adjudication platform aims to standardize the outcomes used in all of our VTE research. It will increase research efficiency by making adjudication much more streamlined and able to be performed by an adjudicator at a time that suits them, rather than at specific meetings where we all have to meet in one room together. The goal is to reduce bias in ascertaining outcomes, increase validity, and increase reliability. And at present, there are 2 active studies, CanVECTOR studies, using this platform, and 5 others in various stages of startup, with additional studies pending. And one thing that's new here, and we hope that this will allow us to sort of launch to a next broader phase, is that we're going to be hiring very shortly a business graduate student for a 6-month internship position. And this student will help to develop a comprehensive business plan for the Verdict platform and will help us with marketing, ultimately expand Verdict's use to not only invent members, but also potentially beyond to other interested researchers or companies who perform research. So kudos to those who helped develop this platform and have been working on it all along. And it's really come along very nicely, and we're very proud of this. We're also proud of the fact that we're going to be hosting the ISTH Congress in June 2023 in Montreal, Quebec. And you can see a photo on the right-hand side of our very colorful Palais de Congrès. The local organizing committee has been convened, so Marc and I will be serving as Congress co-chairs. You can see that Patricia Liao will be the program chair for basic research, Deb Siegel, the program chair for clinical research. Marc Carrier is the SSC liaison representative. Our early career representative is Davide Mattino from McMaster, and we have a number of executive members who are very experienced in planning conferences, including a few that were actually involved in either leading or being on the LOC of the Toronto 2015 conference, namely Sam Schulman, Margaret Rand, and David Lillicrap. So we're very happy to have this, robust and super powerful LOC. We've had a couple of meetings. We're in the process of identifying leads and co-leads for the 13 themes that make up the Congress. And we'll be reaching out to some of you to be involved in some of these various theme committees. So anyhow, this represents a lot of excitement for us who were involved in the planning. Another new aspect of our network, or a new partner, is the Canadian Pediatric Thrombosis and Hemostasis Network. So this is a sister network involved in thrombosis in pediatrics, and they voted in favor of partnering with our network. A couple of months ago, this was sort of solidified. So we're very happy about that. The current chair of the CPTHN is Dr. Christine Sabapathy, a pediatric thrombosis specialist based at McGill. And in order to launch this new partnership, we decided that for the first National Thrombosis Seminar, which took place in October, we had a speaker in the area of pediatric thrombosis management, and we were able to announce the collaboration or partnership at that time. So we're very happy to be able to partner with our pediatric thrombosis colleagues, and we hope that some of them are attending our conference today. We invite all interested CPTHN members to join CanVECTOR, and we think that you will benefit from our various CanVECTOR communications and other offerings, and we hope to find additional ways in the future to collaborate with the CPTHN on specific projects. Just a couple of words about how we've gone on to secure network sustainability for phase 2. I mentioned earlier that we have managed to raise a significant amount of funds to date, but essentially we've pursued both in-kind and cash partnerships from various academic, not-for-profit, and industry partners, and we'll show you some of those partners a bit later on. This is aimed to help support network sustainability through phase 2. In addition, we've instituted a CanVECTOR project fee, as some of you know. This project fee was approved by our scientific steering committee in 2020, and it's supported by our membership. It was announced, I think, at our last annual conference. And CanVECTOR now requires that studies that we support include a contribution or project fee as part of the budget going into the grant agency to cover various CanVECTOR services, such as the adjudication platform, patient partners, potential of space at our annual conference for a meeting, and a lot of other services as well, which are outlined in a service document. This fee is a small amount of the budget. It's 2% of whatever amount of grant funding is awarded for grants that are going in with a budget of more than $50,000, and the maximum project fee cap is $20,000. And I just wanted to mention that this is modeled after the Canadian Critical Care Trials Group project fee. This is a network that has been in existence for more than 35 years. The project fee has been approved as sort of, or accepted and approved as part of the culture of being a member of that network. And they've had tremendous success in securing large-scale grants all along their lifespan. Part of their funding or sustainability over the years has related to their project fee. So I just wanted to mention this. Because it is, we hope, an important aspect of our sustainability that will grow over the years as more and more successful grants, more and more grants are successfully funded. We had our external advisory board meeting yesterday morning, and just so you know, we do have an external advisory board made up of a number of academic representatives as well as some of our partner representatives. They meet twice a year, and their objective is to help us steer our network, make sure we're on the right direction, give us guidance, tell us what we're doing well and what we could be doing better. And one of the comments from yesterday's meeting, among some other comments, was that they felt that we should think about better defining CanVECTOR's social media goals. We do have a pretty impressive presence on social media in the form of Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and multiple communications to our network members. But they said that it might be worth considering engaging as well a CanVECTOR social media ambassador, perhaps a junior researcher or trainee who's very savvy on social media, more so than some of the network leaders, to further enhance our social media presence. So we will be recruiting for such a person soon. And if any of you think you might be interested, feel free to reach out to us at any time. So I just wanted to mention and announce that there will be a major change in co-directorship of our network coming up because Dr. Marc Rodger plans to step down from his role after 7 years at the helm. He will step down in the summer of 2022. And just as a reminder, the co-director and other leadership positions in the network are for 5-year terms with the possibility of a second term. There will be a succession policy to identify, we will implement our written succession policy to identify a new co-director, and there will be nominations solicited in early 2022 with voting in spring of 2022. And I've asked Marc if he wished to make a few remarks at this juncture, because this will be the last time he attends our annual conference as a co-director. So I'm going to hand over to Marc.
Yeah, thanks, Susan, and really thanks to everybody. I'd just like to say a few words of gratitude to CanVECTOR, to the CanVECTOR team. Highlight the folks that make CanVECTOR live and breathe every day. That is Charlotte, Nicole, Jesse, Caleb, fantastic crew. And of course, Susan, who's borne the bulk of the leadership burden and responsibility for CanVECTOR, and of course is the matriarch of Canadian thrombosis. And Susan mentioned that all of these positions are volunteer positions, but there are compensations that come in other forms, and it's been extremely gratifying to see CanVECTOR grow from really an idea when we were writing the grant to what it is today, and what Susan highlighted before us. So in summary, just a real pleasure to contribute to CanVECTOR, real pleasure to watch it grow and see its tremendous impact, and grateful to all of you for allowing me to contribute, and hopefully we'll have some time at the end for further reflections in the Q&A section.
So thank you so much, Marc, and we hope you will be our emeritus co-director in some way and still help to provide guidance to our network. And really thank you for all your contributions. Sorry, one sec. So moving on to a new feature, we've established a new award called the CanVECTOR Research Coordinators Award. And this is to recognize the effort of our research coordinators across the network. Without our research coordinators, none of our studies could get done. None of our research would be a success. And they really are completely integral to all of the clinical research that we do, and we felt that this is really worth recognizing. So this award highlights an individual who, through their work as a clinical research staff member, strives to ensure ethical conduct and regulatory compliance, inspires others, leads by example, and acts as a role model, and supports education of self and staff and their colleagues. So I'm pleased to announce the winner of the inaugural CanVECTOR Research Coordinators Award. And this is Amanda Pekarsky from the Ottawa Hospital Research Institute. So warm congratulations to Amanda Pekarsky. I'd like to point out that we received 2 applications for Amanda's nomination, not only 1 nomination, but 2. One came from her research coordinator peers, and one came from the PIs who worked with her. And together, all those who nominated her for this award agree that Amanda has always exemplified an unmatched work ethic and dedication to all clinical trials she was involved with. They especially wanted to highlight her unparalleled commitment to promote research activity during the pandemic, enrolling patients remotely if required, while still maintaining patient safety and meeting all regulations and guidelines, and her unbound enthusiasm and persistence to show up to work, be it in the clinic, even with pandemic restrictions, or consenting and following up on study participants in new virtual ways. Her colleagues said it best, Amanda is the powerhouse of our thrombosis research program. So congratulations to Amanda. Thank you for your dedication. And I'd like to also thank the other CanVECTOR research coordinators who were nominated. It was impressive and heartening to read all of the high praise from your nominators. We truly value your tireless efforts, and we do plan to offer this award annually, and we think it's a very important award. So once again, congratulations. We'd also like to congratulate various fellows and students who received CanVECTOR awards in 2021 to 2022. So the Clive Kieran CanVECTOR Fellowship was awarded to Vicky Mai. Other CanVECTOR Fellowship Awards went to Natasha Rupani and Yan Zhu. The Thrombosis Canada CanVECTOR Fellowship Award to Camille Simard. And then a number of CanVECTOR studentships were awarded to Jaskirat Aurora, Erblin Kani, Justin Clark, Felix Hong, Ganim Juneja, Henry West, Lisa Yamuara, and Amin Zarai. Congratulations to all of these trainees. And I just like to mention that the winner of the CanVECTOR abstract competition will be announced this afternoon, so please stay tuned for that session. Of course, we couldn't do any of this without our partners, so I just like to show in the next couple of slides some of our partners who help support the network. Here are our charitable and not-for-profit organizations that help to support us. These are our academic institutions who have partnered with CanVECTOR. And this shows our industry partners. And I'd like to give a special thanks to our partners who provided support for today's conference, Pfizer BMS, Pfizer Hospital, Bayer, Sanofi, Alexion, and Leo. Thank you very much for your support. In summary, I'd just like to say thank you on behalf of me and on behalf of Marc. I invite you to enjoy the conference. We'll be happy to take a couple of questions in the last few minutes. And also coming up next will be a presentation by this year's Thrombosis Canada CanVECTOR Fellow, Dr. Makedonov. So I will stop my screen share now and we'll be happy to take any questions. Have a great conference.
So Susan, while we're waiting for people to busily type away, and we've got 4 minutes, you know, one of the things that I was thinking about looking through the original application for CanVECTOR was sort of where we came from and where we've gone. And you know, a shout out to you know, the predecessors of CanVECTOR. You know, we had the Vector Collaborative Group, and McMaster had and still has a very strong core of scientists, but you know, with David Anderson and Phil Wells and Mike Kovacs and yourself, Susan, and Jim Duquettis, Mark Crowther, and Sam Schulman and Clive Kieran, we had a very strong group of clinical collaborators. And what CanVECTOR permitted us to do was to embrace, beyond sort of the clinical collaboration, the training programs, like you mentioned, large administrative database work, the basic science translational research opportunities we're able to create, the KT, the patient partnership. I think we've really sort of added huge value beyond the original collaborations and really synergized the original collaborations. So it's been, again, really heartening to watch CanVECTOR grow.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you, Marc. It's always very important to thank those who, you know, came before us. I mean, obviously, most of the people you just mentioned are still very active in thrombosis research, but they really were key in terms of the foundation of what then became CanVECTOR. So important to recognize.
Great, and I'm not seeing any questions, but maybe I'm not looking at the right place.
Okay. Okay, I think we're good. We have only a minute or so left. So once again, thanks everyone, and have a wonderful conference.